It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back. We got another video today that was suggested by one of you guys in the Discord community. So this one was from Dom, I'll say. I don't want to mispronounce it. So Dom has decided to give us a Reddit post here to discuss. And it's titled with a bunch of like facepalm emojis. Under the shitpost meme category, that says, which side are you on? This event is full of toxic tryhard survivors, or this event is full of toxic tunneling killers. I usually lean towards like the left side here because I'm usually playing killers, so that's usually what I'm ending up seeing on like one that I'm facing when I'm just trying to either try to build or just try to use a new character, and then you just get a lot of just like a bunch of sweat balls within it. Now, you also see the fact that, oh well, you know, the killers are also using strategies, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of how that goes. You know what I mean? Like, it's if you're say a killer player rolling in and you're like, yo, I'm getting freaking gen rush out the game, I gotta keep up somehow. So then that's when they start to utilize the strategy. However, if you're on the receiving end of it, then of course if you're a casual survivor player, then they're gonna be like, yo, this freaking sucks, I can't even play the matchup. So somehow it's toxic to them, but it really isn't. But either way, I understand, you know, where they're coming from, despite the fact that it's just irritating on both ends. So this person said at the top, both, it's always both. There's always going to be toxic tryhards no matter the mode, no matter the side, which is also very true. They say, however, I used to watch this game for years before it was released on console, so I could never play it. I always feel like survivors usually screwing around, having fun, or fighting for their lives because the game was difficult. The difficulty and fun intrigued me so much. So that was a very long time ago. At least obviously compared to now. Like, killer streamers are almost always playing as optimally as possible. I like the survivors were always the ones sweating. It didn't turn me off to killer, but it was something I distinctly remember for a long time. Then when I got the game, I slowly felt like this was the case for myself, as mostly survivor player versus most of the killers I go up against. I never used meta, just was fun, but not completely worthless. Although nowadays, even though I'm good at survivor, I'm hitting ceilings just because after a few win streaks, my MR must be high enough, and the only thing I face is the no fun and toxic killers. Survivors can be toxic too, just so to say my experience has been. So what I can say is that that's just kind of how it works with this game, especially with MMR as well. Like, that's just kind of what happens. You're gonna end up going against a lot of people at a certain MMR level that are probably either messing around or that they're just kind of new and they're not entirely understanding how to play the game as optimally as possible yet. But then once you're winning a lot, of course your MMR will then put you in a place where people are, you know, trying to win, playing the best of their ability. They have extreme levels of knowledge, and of course they're trying to sweat. So that's just kind of unfortunately how it works. It's not really built to be fun. It's built around trying to essentially just like outdo the opponent in that sense. That's just kind of how it goes. And they say, I agree and I don't. It's not toxic to try and win, which I agree with that as well. You're just trying to win the game like anybody else does. For example, not toxic to do gens or gen rushes. You're doing what is your objective. It is then toxic to either just TB at the exit gate for no reason. When you call, just leave or get an endgame chat to start harassing the killer. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you could do the gens and it's fine. You know what I mean? Gen rushing is extremely annoying and it's extremely prevalent and it's a massive problem. But at the end of the day, it's like there's nothing we can really do against it. It's just how the game is. You know what I mean? Now, for killer players, like, it's the same thing. Like, we're trying to use strategies to slow down the gen rushing as best we can by utilizing the tunnel or slug. And of course, people love saying, I don't personally like to do it. I'm like, it doesn't really matter, you know, at least to me, you know, and I don't really agree that you should hinder yourself in that way. You should just play however the hell you want. But anyway, it says, I do see why some killers do it and believe that it is a viable strategy if you have not killed anyone, only 2 gens left. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My problem is that people try to staple on some kind of requirement in order to do it. It's like, no, just do what you gotta do. Because, like, survivors are gonna use everything in their power, including exploits, broken things, shit you can't counter, broken meta. Like, there's so much bullshit they have. It's like, they're gonna use it. It's not like they're like, oh, I'm not gonna, like, shift tech the shack. I'm not going to not use sprint burst. I'm not going to not go to the corner of the map. I'm not gonna do this. Like, they don't ever do that. So like, just play out how you want. They don't care. Like, the people you're facing don't care. Like, you're the only person hindering yourself. Like, there's no point in concerning yourself with it. It is seen as toxic if you just started the match and slug and tunnel right away. I don't know how, and then they say it's a gray area. No, it's not. Like, just play how you want, buddy. It's not a gray area at all. I can understand if it's sweaty, you're like, damn, like blight tunneling early, golly, you know what I mean? I get it. But if you're seeing a skull merchant or a trapper, you're go, yeah, like they just kind of got to do what they got to do. Like it's a weak killer. Like, you're not gonna magically apply pressure from across the entire universe. Like, you have to manually walk everywhere. You can't teleport, dash, fly. You don't have anything. Like, duh. Like, you know what I mean? That's why I'm like, why are we even calling that why are we even having that distinction in this community? It's so freaking strange. I don't get it. I would say I see it as a toxic. If a killer hooks me, then hits me while I am on hook, it does nothing for them, and then they get the slow moving when the animation happens. That's fine. How many of a survivor when they're on the floor instead of just worrying or hooking them I see as toxic, which is fine as well. I've always seen that. But yeah. So yeah, so they say tunneling is not toxic and gen rushing is not toxic, so neither side is toxic, which makes sense. Then this person wants to say that it definitely is, but then they want to say gen rushing isn't. I'm like, no. If tunneling is toxic, then so is gen rushing. Like, come on now. It has to be one or the other, bro. It doesn't magically, like, it doesn't just magically change on the drop of a hat. You know what I'm saying? That's just not how it works. It's just not how it works, bro. Oh my god. Okay, why does it keep doing that? That's just way too many replies at this point, I think. The only reason that tunneling is so prevalent is because of generous toxicity earned by tunneling comes from the generous meta, which I do kind of agree with that. I do kind of agree with that. It's very true. And then this person, the survivor main, of course, which gets a lot of upvotes, by the way. Gets a lot of upvotes because, you know, most survivor players are on the game, right? So they want to say, Blue, I've never had most miserable games in my 10 years of playing than I have been playing this event. I'm like, I guess. And then this person says most survivors I play against are friendly. So that's what I'm saying, like, when it comes down to a game like this, is that there's so many different variables of MMR level, experience level, hours played, time played, blah, blah, blah. Stuff like that. You're always going to get just a different answer depending on who you ask, because everybody's just in a different level. Like, they just are. You know what I mean? This one's also really good. It says this event is badly made side, which is very true. This person says I played both sides in the event. Survivors complete ass to play in this event. Complete ass. Killers are tunneling like crazy. Which, yeah, like the gens are extremely fast. So, you know what I mean? When I play Survivor, it feels like we can't even breathe and the killer's on us as soon as the match starts. When I play Killer, I've gotten some of the cutest, silliest survivors who just want to have fun. I go for 2 hooks if they're not being toxic, or a bully squad and we farm and they leave. Everyone has fun. So this right here is the post that I need to highlight and put it at the top of everything that I'm talking about when it comes to MMR level, experience level, you know, the hours played, MMR, blah, blah, blah. This is exactly what I'm highlighting, because notice this. They have a survivor-sided experience, right? They only have survivor-sided experiences. They play killering and in the lowest MMRs, and then they get like the easiest matches they can. Then they claim everyone's having fun, right? Then they want to say, why is it so hard for killers not to sweat? Just line up. I'm like, you're playing against low baby MMR levels. You are the sweaty one on Survivor. So let's take a wild guess as to what the hell the killer is facing. You know what I mean? Like, let's really be so for real. Why is there such a lack of self-awareness here? You know what I mean? Like, Survivor's ass to play, and it's like so is Killer. Like, I can tell you that straight up. It's ass to play on both sides. Because if I'm trying to play a killer who's low tier shit and I'm getting generous, I'm not having fun. I don't even get to get into a chase, which is the only interesting part. Like, I don't really want to sit around and patrol a gen, like a 3-gen all day. Like, I want to actually get some downs and show my abilities, show my knowledge with the power. And then look at this, look at this. I guarantee you, if survivors can tell that you want to be chill, they will be chill too. No, they don't. Like, people don't care about the other side, brother. They don't. They do not. They don't care. I've said this earlier. Survivors are going to exploit and abuse and use everything they can when they're facing you, without fail. Now, if you personally are listening to it and you go, hey, I don't do that, hey, that's good. I'm glad you're not contributing to that. However, that you can't speak for every single person in the community. You can't speak for every single player that's utilizing these things. You just can't. You can speak for yourself. You cannot speak for everyone in that sense. And in this case, there is no guaranteed anything. You're saying you can guarantee yourself if you face somebody who's trying to chill, but you can't guarantee that everybody who's somehow gonna chill is gonna play chill. No, they don't. They don't. That's just not what they do. That's just not what they do. That's not the majority. That's not what people do. Because I can sit here and 2-hook everybody, still get back to the gate. I can play the way I want, still get back at the gate. I can play any way, and I'll still somehow have somebody trying to be toxic, waiting out the endgame collapse, teabagging at the gate, standing there, pointing, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? You always got something. It's like, let's be so for real, bro. But this right here is exactly like the type of people I'm talking about. It's like they have this experience, they claim that that's the only experience that ever exists, and they want to claim that the other side is like, oh, you just gotta lighten up, yo. And it's like, no, we don't. Like, we're gonna play how we want. Like, what is the point of trying to concern ourselves with the other side's fun when they're not concerned with ours? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Look at this nonsense. Killers tunnel and sweat, then bitch and moan about toxic survivors. You're getting what you dish out. I'm like, that's not how that works. Like, that's not how that works, bro. So let's say I made a post yesterday about how I faced blight in 5 out of 10 of my most recent solo queue matches with evidence via screenshot of my stats from the site. Got a few replies of people going on about how it's justified because killer is really hard in the event. See, look at this. But I just don't get it. I have not lost a single match as killer in the event yet. Because the blood gens always seem to get bugged and always take ages to complete. And now they can get nuked by every 10 regression program day. I'm like, that's not how that works. Congratulations, you've just encountered MMR because you're a survivor main. Remember that? Because if you're saying that you're playing 10 games of solo queue, that means you probably have a lot of experience playing it. Because if you're somehow so lost and confused about the killer experience, that probably means you don't play any killer. Like, I'm just saying. If you're playing killer consistently, you won't be sitting here confused and lost. Why does this keep happening? Like, you don't know what you're talking about. And that's my point. There's a lot of people in this community that will just talk about stuff they have no understanding of. It's kind of insane when you really think about it. So right here, it says purple. Yep. This has been as toxic on both sides. But since I am a survivor main, I see a lot of toxic only killers. I've been running a boon build with Expo since the event started and got so much value. I never run boons, but the value has been off the charts. And I will keep this build for the rest of the event. I think at this point, every 3 out of 4 is a tunneling slug killer. Same recipe. Tunnel the first person out at 4 to 5, then slug for the 3. At least if my boon is up, that means you can keep the game going for a bit. We even manage a full comeback and pop all gens, getting 2-3 man out. Sometimes it's just wasting time and trying to get as many points as you can for abandoning. It really varies from game to game depending on killer and survivors, but that sweet blood point bonus makes up for it regardless if the games are fun or not. So this is what I'm saying. A lot of people sit around and want to say, oh, I'm a casual player. Oh, everyone's being toxic and sweaty. And it's like, sure, you can speak for yourself. But you got to take into account, what is this other player I'm facing has gone against for them to be playing this way? Because it's every single time you see posts on anything, it's, oh, the killer, oh, it's their fault, It's like, okay, but what do you think they're gone up against for that to be the case? Because not every single person rolls into an event to sweat. You know what I mean? And this is what I talk about when it comes to the cycle of DBD, where it's like, you can be a casual person, a casual player, then you're just getting sweat ball after sweat ball after sweat ball. You're like, yo, I gotta start putting on more slowdown because, like, yo, I can't even play the game. So by the time you hit like your 5th game, you're like, yo, you got like, you at least have a viable build that has good amount of a slowdown. And chances are you probably switch your killer too, and you probably went to a high tier so you can actually have some goddamn fun. Chances are. At least speaking for me. As a killer player. Kind of ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous. And this is exactly another example of more survivor main, sloppy, blah, blah, blah. They say, I've been running an anti-slug build for the entire event. It's ridiculous how badly the killers are slugging. So never is it in a moment in this person's, is there a moment in this person's mind where they go, I wonder why they're doing that. They just go, it's just ridiculous. I'm just a victim and I keep facing this. It's like, okay, that's fine, but you're not thinking outside the box. So you have to think a little bit and go, wait, but why are they doing that? What is the purpose of it? Maybe do some research. You know what I mean? Maybe ask a killer player. You know what I mean? Ask somebody, look it up, look at some videos, look at killer players that discuss these things. Do your research. Try to understand these things. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, instead, they just cry on the forums. And it's like, okay, but you gotta start to ask those big questions and ask and think and listen. Why do people do that? Right? At the end of the day, it's their objective. So they say not much can be done about tunneling. Which there is a lot to be done about tunneling. And that's another thing that people like to do when they're in this position. They like to victimize themselves and think, oh my God, the killers are so overpowered. They're so toxic. They're so this, they're so that. It's like, no, if you're getting downed instantaneously, that's probably a skill issue. Because you can survive. I've gone against plenty of people that were able to just either hide or be able to last in chase, where I'm like, it wouldn't be advantageous for me to continue to stay in this chase. Now, okay, you can say, oh, but solo queue. Sure, but that's not the killer's fault for you being in solo queue. That's the fault of your teammates for not coordinating correctly. That's not your teammates. That's your teammates' fault, not the killer's fault. Because it says it right here. If a killer chooses someone to tunnel, that person is gone, no matter what you try to do to stop it. Maybe stop trying to stop it. Because at the end of the day, if your teammate is just that bad, where like a simple body block is not allowing them to get away, if healing them is not helping them, if you're trying to do your best to help that person, maybe they're just not good enough in chase. And you can't force them to be better in chase. You just can't. They have to learn by themselves. And if they're not going to learn, then they're just going to end up still getting killed. That's just how that works. And then this person says, I've seen exactly what you said numerous times. Tunnel out one, slug the other three. At this point, I don't play even with the goal of winning. I'm playing with the goal of lasting as long as I can before being inevitably tunneled or slugged. And that right there is the mindset you should be having. Not sitting here thinking, oh, I'm going to get free wins every game. Like, stop thinking that way. Maybe think about it as, I'm going in by myself with 3 other bozos. Can I actually make it out of this? Think about it from, hey, every victory is a victory, instead of it thinking I need and I'm entitled to these victories because I'm just playing the side that's the easiest. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just where I'm getting at. And I'm pretty passionate about this because it's a big issue in the community. Like, this is just one of many that say the same thing, that have the same language, that talk exactly the same as this. And it's not just this person, it's numerous people that talk like this. And it's like, what are we doing? And then this person right here says tunneling. This person right here says tunneling, slugging, camping aren't toxic. They're strategies for winning. Just like splitting up, tackling groups of gens or innermost gens first, taking hits, etc. is for survivors, but they want to get downvoted. It's like, what are we doing, bro? This should be downvoted. They're yapping about and crying about strategies when survivors have thousands of strategies they can utilize in different ways. And they just don't. So this person right here has a pretty good comment because they say, my thoughts today. Okay, I'll let everyone who brings in party cakes go. Oh, no one else is bringing in cakes. That's okay, I'll let the cute survivors go. Oh, that's a Sable squad. Okay, I'll just let the Cheryls and Laras go. Those are my mains, so they're automatically cute. Oh, they're going to teabag me. Maybe I'll play survivor even though I suck at oh, I'm getting 3 hooked before anyone else gets 1 hooked. You know what I mean? That right there, it pretty much sums it up. And it's this right here. How dare people play the video game they paid for? They're supposed to be NPCs for my enjoyment. That's what the Survivor players seem to think that that's what killers are, for some reason. I'm just saying. This event is full of dipshits, kind of. Oh look, and others them. No, that deserves to be downvoted. What are you yapping about, brother? Just want to have a BP and have fun. Good chase is nice. Could do without tunnels. Mori offerings, disabled squads in the event. No MMR, so no reason to sacrifice or sweat the gens to me. 8 hook and farm central. Killer BP floods the bank when I do. Yeah, like I'm saying, people have different ways that they want to play the game. They have different ways that they want to do things. That's fine. But my problem is just the mentality and the language that people are using to talk about these topics is my problem with this game and this community. It's like we need to be able to recontextualize a lot of these terms because it's a lot of dumb stuff that's being said. Because for some reason now utilizing strategy on killer, as for some reason everyone always keeps saying, is somehow toxic to just utilize strategy. Yet Survivor can utilize any and every strategy and it's not toxic now. Oh, what are you talking about? That's their only objective. What about killer? Their only objective is literally to kill. That's why they're called killers. Like, that's why survivors are called survivors, because they're trying to survive the killer. Like, it's like, well, are we being so for real? It's dumb. It's really dumb. But because they have, like, they just feel bad because, oh, I got tunneled. Like, all of a sudden, that means that it's the killer's fault. It's the game's fault. Oh my God. These devs need to add anti-tunnel. It's like, maybe get better at the goddamn game. You know what I mean? You claim you love the game. You claim, oh my God, I play this game every day for hours on end. I'm like, okay, fine. So are you good at the game at some point? Are you going to get better at it? Especially if you're going to be winning a lot. Are you going to get better at it? No? Then you're just going to have to take the L on that, because what else can you do? You're choosing not to improve. You're choosing to stay bad at the game and then get mad that when people are better at it. You got to pick a struggle, my guy. And that's just for the entitled people. You know what I mean? I don't want people to think it's for everybody. It's not. You know what I mean? But I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the topic at hand today. What do you guys think of this? Let me know in the comment section. Hit the like, hit the sub, man. Become a member on YouTube or Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon, Crow Vader. All my YouTube members, Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not J-Lo, Evil Peach, Hargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.